So if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would tell myself to breathe, in all honesty. When I was 18, I was coming out of figuring this thing out on my own. We go to school, we have an education. We come out of school and we have all these certificates and we think we're ready for the world. But nobody truly prepares you for the navigation of being on your own at 18. You're trying to figure out how to be on the streets by yourself. You gotta get street smart. You have to figure out how to handle finances. You have to figure out how to take care of yourself because no family member is going to take care of you at 18. They may look out for you, but they are not going to take care of you. And I had to be out there on my own at 18, trying to figure this thing out. I am not going to tell you that I got it done at 18, but if I had to go back to that 18-year-old person, I would have asked her to first take a deep breath and look. I kind of jumped straight into stuff, sometimes without looking both ways, sometimes without thinking, sometimes without, I was like, yeah, let's just get it done. 18-year-old me, breathe, look around, think about what you're doing, process what you're doing, get advice. You don't have to learn it the hard way. That's the truth.
This is very true. And last in one of our broadcasts discussion, we talked about intergenerational traumas. How were you able to handle the intergenerational trauma, and how did you go about healing, or are you still in healing from such?
That's a three-layered question that I'm going to answer in a three-layered way. First and foremost, if you grow up, I'm going to use Barbados because we do have persons who are outside of Barbados, and therefore I'm going to have to bring them into the culture. If you grow up in Barbados, there are certain things that you're accustomed to seeing. Okay, there are certain things you're accustomed to seeing. There are certain things you're accustomed experiencing.
For example,
and as a result, you don't always think that it is wrong. Like I grew up with this lady. I remember distinctly running into my great aunt's house for shelter. And it was only when I got older that I realized that she used to be running from her husband, who would be beating her nearly every day. And I didn't see that in my own house because I grew up intergenerationally, and there was a great grandfather, there was a grandmother, great aunts who were sisters, my mother. So I did not see women being physically abused. This, however, isn't something that other people say they would never see. So when you grow up seeing things like that, you think it is the norm. You don't see it as trauma. I experienced abuse, and I found out that other people experienced abuse. So they didn't see their abuse as being something that they needed to get over. But I felt that I did not want to live in the emotion of what I was experiencing every day. I didn't like it. I didn't like where it was. So I guess the journey to healing began when Zion's daughter, said, this is enough. I don't like this feeling of emptiness. I don't like this space where you are in a space, but yet you don't feel like you belong. You are participating in activities, but you don't feel like you're a part of the crowd. You don't have this connect that other people are having to joy, and I wasn't getting that. So I remember going into a Christian bookstore. I still have the book to this day, and it's called Me and My Big Mouth by Joyce Meyer. And I started to read that. Then I started to read other books about spiritual abuse and healing from childhood trauma. And some of it resonated so much that I put those things into practice. Because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to walk around with that the emotion and the heaviness that abuse brings, and then not feeling healed. You know that when you don't feel healed, you know it. It's an emotion inside that there's this incompleteness. I don't know if other persons who are listening can resonate with what I'm saying. There's this emptiness, even though you may be layered in makeup, even though you may be layered in the right clothing and everything, there's still this thing inside of you that does not feel whole, connected, loved.
So then you would say that that's a self-esteem issue then, having gone through all the trauma that you've gone through, and you're only sharing snippets of it. Would you say then that affected your self-esteem and your confidence?
Of course. To say different would be a lie, and to say different would be making yourself seem as if you've arrived and other people haven't gotten it. Of course it's affected my self-esteem. And in realizing it affected my self-esteem, it affected the way I dressed, it affected the way I saw myself, it affected the way I heard myself, it affected the way I viewed myself. So of course it affected my self-esteem. Anyone who, and in conversations I should say, with other persons who were also on their healing journeys, we would come to the realization, no, we're hurting ourselves by doing this. Why are we, for instance, dressing what you call frumpy? You don't want the nicest colors on you. You don't want any makeup on you because you think it's going to attract attention, and you don't want that kind of attention. You dress understated because you don't want to be seen. You want to be just moving through this world. And I couldn't take that anymore. So I had to do something about it.
So how did you go about changing that? That's an off-the-cuff question. I didn't write that down, but how did you, after looking at yourself and recognizing you had to heal from that trauma, you said dressing is one of the things that affected you. How did you now muster up that energy? And what does that look like? Because, people can go from one extreme to the other. So how did that look?
How did I? That looked like who you are seeing now. I saw this person, but I wasn't that person. I would remember sitting down and picturing myself always in the future. And I aimed toward that person. I remember, let me give you an example. I have the gift of the gab, but I have never felt that person wanted to hear what I was saying because I used to be told too much, tone it down, tone down your voice, tone down the things that you're saying, or worse yet, critique the way I speak. This is the way I speak. Anybody who knows me knows that this is my pattern to speak. But when you are told why you always don't talk so why you can't talk like everybody else? You clamor up. But I remember sitting and imagining myself on stage talking to hundreds of thousands of people.
Mm.
And I would muse and mull on that person every day. And picture myself actually having that confidence. It is not an event that got me here, but a series of awakenings, a series of conversations, encounters with other people, both male and female. Sometimes watching a show or interaction with someone. I can't say that it was one particular thing, but what I will tell you that no matter the thing, the objective I always kept in mind is that I don't want to live in the yesterday. I want to live in the tomorrow while I am in the today. I literally could not take being in the past person anymore. It was not, she didn't feel comfortable in my presence anymore. Not that I don't want to know her, but I want to know the better me each time, every time, every day.
You know, for some persons, people listening to this or who will see it eventually, struggle with coming out of the intergenerational traumas or traumas just generally. And they would hear this, but they want a little bit more meat. And what methods did you use? Did you go seek help? How did you, or what methods did you employ to get you to this point? You know what I'm saying?
Well, a lot of my journeys was in church. I used to go to church when I was in my early 20s. I'm now in my 50s. And I spent an inordinate amount in church. When you are in church, you think that whatever you were going through, church is going to handle it. Being in church, you're going to get all the healing that you want. Every time you go up for prayer, that thing that you carry to the altar or to the pastor to lay hands on you, that is going to miraculously disappear. But what I discovered is that I had to talk to myself as well. That laying on our hands doesn't always do it. That running to the altar doesn't always do it. I had to confront my own issues, myself, and like how I'm looking at myself in this call. I had to look at myself in the mirror. That was one method. Looking at yourself in the mirror and embracing the vision of who you are. I did that. I also, like I said before, I read a lot of books. I really did. I listened. I was on such a hunger and thirst journey to heal that I literally sought it out. I would Google how to heal from, how to walk from, listen to people who were going through other things, listening to other people. But then I started listening to the divine in myself because I never used to. That seemed like God is up there, and you only encounter God when you go into church. And there's no way that something as big as God would want to be part of little old me. And when I remember a particular event that had a profound impact on me. The church had invited this international person to do a deliverance for persons who went through sexual abuse or who have been raped and so on. And I remember I gotta go to this. I ran home, being changed, got on the wrong bus, was late to the event, went to the wrong location, But because I was so hungry to be delivered from the emotion of what I went through, I saw it as, yes, this is for me. When I got there, the gentleman was now praying for people, and he didn't even touch me. But I remember waking up and feeling different. But I thought, this different feeling, this is going to carry me no matter what. This is going to be my strength when I am at work. This is going to be strength if I am in a relationship. I can walk with this strength all the time. Little did I know that every single day on a healing journey, I had to be present. I had to show up. An event was not the purpose and the reason why I was walking. I was the person who was walking. It might sound self-absorbed, but you cannot take a journey based on an event. You have to be on the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that I had to show up every day to be a part of my own healing journey, Empress, that's not an easy feeling.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
It is not. It is you telling yourself you need to fix it. You need to be real with other people who have said, you used to be this way and you aren't that way anymore. Tell me how you get there. And when you're talking to people, you have to get so raw with them. And say, listen, I remember when I used to feel that if I eat three pieces of food, I can get fat. So I only ate one. Or I think that if I smile too much, people would think that I am uneasy. Those are actual emotions that I walked with. And to come out of that meant I had to let go of this shackle that was on my shoulder, tethered to me, and I was dragging it along. And at no point did I think, I can actually untether myself from this and walk without that burden. Am I making sense to anybody?
Yeah. You know, they said the destination is written, but not the journey. And all of this is part of your journey towards the destination, right? So that leads me into the next questions. You keep talking about spirituality a lot. And that is where we are in our development as people. So since all of this led to your awakening, because awakening, consciousness, and spirituality are different things. They all should lead to the same place, but they're different things. What is your earliest experience of awakening to your spirituality?
Whoa, that's a heavy question, Empress. That's a real heavy question. I would say that it was a mixture of research, finding out that what I was experiencing in church was not exclusively access to the divine, moving away from spiritual abuse and spiritual abuse of power, I should say, and then embracing myself and embracing my gift. I have the gift of the gap, which makes me an oracle. But I cannot sit here today and tell you that that's the arrival that I came at, and therefore I am here to talk to you as an oracle because I had it figured out. It took laying on my own hand on my stomach and calling out fear. It took making silly mistakes and going back. It took journaling. It took um, seeking information and talking to people who had more knowledge than me.
Mm-hmm.
But most of all, it took being humble
Mm-hmm.
and waiting and being at peace
Mm-hmm.
with even mistakes that you made.
Mm-hmm.
It took the understanding that what I went through
Mm-hmm.
cannot define me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have no authority, no authenticity to speak to anybody else who may be wondering how they too can come out of living in fear of the fear that abuse carries you through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The fear of you not being seen as important to people because you don't see yourself as being important. That tether that straps onto you and demands to be a part of your journey um, can sometimes become so second skin
Mm-hmm.
that when it is unleashed, you don't even realize that the burden is gone.
Sure. This is very true. All right, so I'm coming down the line. There's so much in my head to ask, but I'm trying to keep us honest.
You
Um,
asked it.
I
Asked it because
I
I'm
want to
not,
feel
I
the
did not
fire.
prepare for any questions, so I'm here
Uh,
just waiting for the questions to come at me. You're going a little easy on me, and that's all right, but we still have an hour to go, so don't be easy.
no, you are guarded, so there's a reason for that. That's the energy I'm feeling. But let me ask you this: what has been the one thing you lean on when it gets hard, when life gets hard? The one thing, and expand.
Truthfully, I don't know if I've ever leaned on a particular thing.
Mm-hmm.
I used to run away a lot, so I can't
Mm-hmm.
say that I literally leaned on a thing to get me through. I used to run away from whatever was confronting me. I hated confrontation, so I don't know if I had a proper go-to method to deal with anything. I would rather it not come my way. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
like, being in its presence. So I used to run away a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I learned that that doesn't solve any issue.
Mm.
So I started letting my inner strength be a source to lean on. I started asking myself, okay, I have to join Empress Aziza on this broadcast. I don't like talking about myself. That's one of the reasons why I've been so guarded. I like being vulnerable that way. How do I get over this? Where did I go to lean on to find the courage to talk to you?
Mm-hmm.
I went into honesty.
Mm.
I went into taking a breath and asking myself, what are you going to get from hiding all the time? Who can connect with you
Mm-hmm.
if you have something to share and you're not sharing it because you're scared, because you
Mm.
don't think that you're worthy? So
Mm.
there wasn't a particular thing that I leaned on, but now that I am not so afraid, I lean on that inner strength that I
Mm.
finally have.
Mm. Wow. Okay. All right. Let me ask this question. We are so misunderstood in society, especially as women of color. what would be the one thing that people, or what do people, not one thing, what do people misunderstand about you the most? What's the one thing?
My intent.
Mm, expand. This is going to be good.
Um, I see things really spiritually. I
Mm-hmm.
really do. If I'm honest, I guess I always used to see things that way. And I think people misunderstand the intent when I talk about a thing. I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk about a thing anymore to elevate myself
Mm-hmm.
or to boost myself, but I try to talk in a way that other persons can slot themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
And I've come out of conversations like that, and people would say, "But you know, you're talking to yourself, and you don't really talking to nobody." I've had that. So I said, I remember asking, "Did you listen to what I was sharing?" And then when the person went back over it, they realized the intent was to speak to you
Mm-hmm.
by using myself. So I think sometimes some people misunderstood my intent.
Mm.
I try to make um, decisions that
Mm-hmm.
will not just affect myself, but I
Mm-hmm.
try to look at the outcome for other people.
Mm-hmm. But let me just say this. Sometimes it's difficult because this is an individual journey, right? So sometimes it's difficult to look at the outcome, as you say, for others because people must go through their journey. So people might misunderstand that as you trying to control them or control their outcome instead of they going through it. You know what I mean? So how would you know? How would you? I think I kind of asking the same question, but how would you know help that person to understand themselves? Since you said people misunderstand your intent, how can you get them to see you in a different light? Mhm.
The only way for some person to know me in a different light is to literally know me. So they would have to get to know me as I would have to get to know them.
Mm.
Um, and we are grown people as well. So if you misunderstand some persons, like sometimes I misunderstand people, so I am grown enough now to ask, what did you mean by that? Explain it.
Mhm.
And then when you get that explanation, you can come out to a different conclusion. I think that sometimes I used to do it. You get very comfortable in living in the
Mhm.
anarchy of a thing
Mhm.
that you don't sometimes go and look for the solution or the piece of a thing to, and you walk away with this misunderstanding, you
Mhm.
walk away with this misinterpretation, and you live with that. And then if you go back to the person, you'll say, but that's not what I really meant. Were you listening? This is not what I meant. And they explain themselves. So stop and get into the person. I have to do it.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I would like people to do it with me.
Okay, me come bring it down a notch. If you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Being a mother,
Oh, expand because I know you carry that with a badge of honor.
I
So,
do. I
mhm.
would love to be remembered as a mother, not just to my children or my nieces, but a mother to many.
Mm.
And what that means, I would love to be remembered as the woman who mothered many.
Mm.
That means the world to me.
Wow. Wow. Well, since we're talking about motherhood, mothers don't come with a manual. I always tell people that I am not a mother. I didn't give birth to children, but I've, as you said, mothered many. And for each child is different, and they're I'm going to say in the thousands. And each child I've had to work with differently. They have similar ways of doing things, but let me tell you, they give you a run for your money. So you have to dig deep down inside and always try to reach each child different. um, what advice would you give to mothers who um, feel like they're at their wits' end? They've tried everything in their minds and at their wits' end. What advice would you give to mothers?
That is a real loaded question. And trust Empress to ask a loaded question. Um, it's such a loaded question because at their wits' end for what purpose? Are they at their wits' end because the child wouldn't listen? So,
Mm-hmm.
mothering first begins with your personal journey.
Mm.
I had to find that out. In order to mother a child, you got to self-care first. You have to put your ego in check. You have to look at the purpose for you even raising that child. You have to look at your own traumas and how is it affecting you? So I guess this is my advice now. Why are you at your wit's end? Are you looking at the ending of a thing for the child? Are you at your wit's end because you went through something? Let's say you have a teenage daughter and you had her at 19. She's now 18. She's making similar moves that you used to, and you are at your wit's end because you're talking to this child and I'm telling she don't do these things, and I at my wit's end because she should be at UE and she should be in BCC, and look what she's doing when she died. Are you at your wit's end because you don't want her to make your journey? Have you told her that? Are you at your wit's end because you went through trauma and you're trying to get your child not to go through the same thing that you have gone through? So why are you at your wit's end? That's self-evaluation. I have to do that a lot. Are you at your wit's end because you don't see any way out? So you really have to ask the question, why are you at your wit's end? And start with self-evaluation.
Wow. That's a wonderful piece of advice. Let me tell you. Okay, so I'm gonna bring it down a notch because I've been just throwing questions at you. So
you can bring it heavy. Ask any questions. Just feel free. I don't mind answering any questions since Empress is throwing the loaded ones at me.
What's your biggest failure and what did you learn from that experience? Your biggest failure and what did you learn from that experience?
My biggest failure. I don't know if I can classify one bigger than the next because I've had so many. It's the truth. If I had to scale them, I would say, which one did you mean? The one when it was 20 or the one when it was 22 or the one when it was 30?
Look, we got 45 minutes, so give me something. Give me one or two.
I honestly had made so many stupid mistakes, and I've had so many failures that I would say that collectively, I learned to forgive myself. That wasn't an easy thing. That was not easy. Believe me, forgiving yourself does not sound holy and perfectly right. Forgiving giving yourself songs like self-righteousness. And if you spend enough time in church, you would know what I'm talking about, right? I see some heads nodding. So learning to forgive yourself is one of the things I learned from my many failures. And then learning to take the failures and turning them around. I can talk to you about it now. If some person comes to me, I will say, listen, I remember when I did that. I remember when I went out to a restaurant by myself. I see a nice looking guy sitting down across from me, and our eyes made before, and he ended up in my bed, or I ended up in his. Ask me where he is now or where I am now. There you go. So, what did I learn from that? Don't trust them emotions. Nothing. It was sweet, but shoot, where is that man now? What was the insane? So I can't say that I made one mistake. Girl, I did so much crap in my life, and as you get to know me, I would willingly share some of that crap, but I also am glad that I made some of those mistakes, and I don't know if I would call them failures anymore. Why? Only because I have elevated in my sense of self. I have elevated in understanding that all of that stupidity leads to me sitting down here and talking to you as Zion's daughter. And if I can use my experiences, the energy of the mistakes and the hurts and the pains that I went through to help other women and other men, then none of it was a failure, because the intent was to make me fail. But I am here.
Whoa, everything starts with intention, right? Okay, so since I asked you about the failures, what's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
Honestly, and this is the honest to God's truth, when my father was dying, he said to me, and I heard this twice in my life, and each time it was from a significant man in my life, who said to me, my dad, let me start with him. He said, I've never been a good father to you, but you've always been a good daughter to me. That means the world to me. Because my dad left this realm, and it had a very significant impact on my life. And I have that peace, and I can talk to people about that. And that compliment means more to me. And also, when I am told, Mommy, I love you, that those things, they make you flow through this life. They make you flow through this life. Yeah. I have to drink some water.
That is absolutely deliciously sweet. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you this off the cuff question. If you could have coffee with any historical figure besides Tyndale, don't we go back to Tyndale? If you could have coffee now, with one historical figure, who would you choose? Who would you choose?
Mary Magdalene.
What? All right.
Yeah. Mary of Magdalene. Why? Mary's heart was so pure in her intent. And I would say two. I'm going to be greedy and say two. Okay. A woman, and it's another woman, but Mary of Magdalene. She had this disposition
Mhm.
that following this highly spiritual man is going to do the best for her.
Mhm.
And her intent was to absorb everything that this spiritual man was saying. She saw the significance in his movement. And the other historical figure would be that woman at the well that Jesus went to talk with.
Oh.
Now, that woman is all of us. And I don't know if people pay enough attention to her, but I love her story. She was like, listen, they got this man here telling people about themselves, but she never bothered to tell people, you know, that I had more than one man. He was like, girl, you ain't sleeping with one man, you got about five right now, so don't check yourself at the door and try to live different. I would really like to know how she went about her life after that. Because I'm going to be raw and said that church really has corrupted this view of characters within Bible stories as being so highly spiritually pure and everything that sometimes we don't even like to see them as people whose lives we are talking about thousands of years later. But I really would like to know what she did after having that encounter. That's the truth.
That is, listen, I sure Jesus ain't say the way you say, but I love it.
I know, but we see Yeshua as this. People get so afraid to talk about him that way, but I'm not. I sometimes read his words and I put him into Bajan parlance. That man was something else, man. But I would love to talk with her though. That's the truth.
But
And
you,
I would love to find out when she went back to the men, like when we say like done with you, yeah, this man done. She was like, okay, see me, I go in church now, I ain't going to sleep like he Saturday night come and things like that. That's us as women, right? Me a man and we go in church now, or I walk in this spiritual journey, so I done with all of that. I would love to find out what she did afterwards. Her story can save a lot of us from the heartache.
I love it. I really tempted to ask you to give me some major parlance about Jesus at Gethsemane. Or Jesus, but or Jesus sitting down with disciples. I would love to hear that.
What would you like to hear about Jesus?
Jesus for the 12 disciples. I would love to hear that.
Yeshua was furious though. He was like, I got in here and do some praying, man, because y'all know what's coming next, right? And stay with me a minute. Just hold down the fort for me. And when he comes back, the men are like, big man, I thought that you was there praying, you did sleeping, the next one didn't even keep a watch out, and they wake up like, wait, you done? I only shut my eye for 5 minutes. You know? Shut my eye for 2 minutes, and you up there praying, you did praying? Oh, okay. Jesus was like, yeah, I came back and finished praying. If I could just do 1, 2. That's us as human beings. That's us as human beings.
I like that.
We will be so spiritually high all the time that we forget that we walk in this flesh. But he was mad, man.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Well, we needed that. Okay, let me get back. I'm sorry, y'all. Whenever Zion's daughter talk in Bajan parlance, they say you gotta sprite me up because it is the funniest. Is the funniest thing. Okay, what do you think? With so much going on in our world since 2019, so many changes that sometimes you can't even keep up with what's going on. What do you think the world will look like in 50 years? In 5 years? In 5 years. What do you think the world will look like in 5 years?
Another empress, loaded question. Anyone else want to rescue me for these loaded questions? Feel free to jump
We
in.
didn't get him a chance to, but this you beat down now.
Loaded questions, so loaded answer coming. 5 years, the world can look like crap if people keep believing that they do not have collective power. There were some boys, 13 boys, stuck in a cave in Thailand a few years ago. And collectively, I was one of them. I used to be on online chat, like, we're sending positive energy to these boys. Let's pray for them. The whole world collectively brought those boys out of the cave. And I think in 5 years' time, if the world used that same collective energy to bring healing to their soul, healing to their family, joy and laughter to their community, it's going to look complete opposite to what we are being told. Because we are being told it and we are accepting it. We're accepting it so much that we're giving power to a thing that has not even materialized. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. So if we keep giving it power by broadcasting it, look at what the elites are doing. Look at what the masses are doing. They're laughing with one another.
Yeah.
In 5 years, the world can look like the image of you and me in these healing moments. If we want it. That's what I think. That's just my thought.
I think we want it. I think we want it more than we know. Especially in this society that we are in, Bajan society, we've been laid back for so long. We've been lulled to sleep for so long that the fight has to be lit in our bellies to get us to rise up, and not rise up in a violent way, but to rise up and say enough is enough. Collectively, our power can change the dynamic of anything. Violence if we have to, bloodshed if we have to, but there's always the way of, going the peaceful way, going the Gandhi way, I like to call it. But we got to be willing to shed blood too, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So
if the person wouldn't mind muting their mic.
All right. So
Getting some interference. But if you don't mind, for that one, I am a Bajan. I love my nation. I love Barbados. I've traveled. I love this country. And what I see a lot hurts me. I see a lot of broken people. I see a lot of people who are hurting inside, who want to be untethered from the domestic violence, the children running wild, from broken relationships, from not knowing how to talk to their parents, not knowing how to talk to their children. I see a lot of it, and it hurts me really. It hurts me deeply because I know the history of my country, and I know that we aimed for something so high, but we never healed from the brokenness of intergenerational trauma of what slavery did to us. And then post-emancipation, we were given tools to make it work, tools to prosper, tools to educate, tools to go to church, tools to build the right homes and drive the right cars. But a lot of the emotional damage of grandmothers and grandfathers busting our asses and telling us to shut up and take it
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the emotional damage of uncles touching and abusing their nieces and nephews, a lot of the brokenness of you living in a house that nearly every girl in it was molested by that
Mm-hmm.
father or something like that. I see a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want it for my nation anymore. I don't want the children of tomorrow to have to live with that because we did.
Yeah.
It may not have come to all our doorsteps,
Mm-hmm.
but some aspect of it did.
Mm-hmm.
You may not have you may not have grown up being sexually abused,
True.
but I know people who grew up in well appointed houses. We got the big bungalow houses,
Mm-hmm.
2-story, cars in the garage, then could travel every year. And I had friends who who would have exchanged that to be in a relationship like I had with my father, who was a Rasta, who was a real Rasta, and who lived a Yabingi lifestyle. And I know girls from well-to-do homes who ran away from that to go and live with men in their backyard, in the hut that they built in their mother backyard just to have peace.
Mm-hmm.
So I would want my nation
Mm-hmm.
to confront the emotional damage that we have given to each other and expect that burden to be carried into another 15 years, into another 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
We listen to politicians and the economists talk about how the economy, we've got to get the economy.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hear a lot of conversations about how we must heal and making that an economy.
Mm. You know, they don't want to face that, because to face that will bring out too many skeletons in the closet. And
But
people
it's
don't
not
want to
an
face
easy
that
thing to
yet.
face, Empress. No,
Mm-hmm.
it's let's be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really want to know? All right, let's use Prince Harry as an example because he's the most famous and the most visible right now. He is speaking his truth.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people who are saying, you should be really grateful that you came out of a privileged family, and how dare you talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
That is what it would look like if Barbados, which is considered a well-to-do society,
Mm-hmm.
had to start talking about their trauma. Because for an individual to talk about their trauma, they have to talk about their family. They have to talk about the source of that trauma.
Yes.
And that's easy when you live in the West. Oprah could talk about her trauma because who can go around the corner and show everybody where Oprah grew up? Well, yeah, that's Zayden's daughter. You know, she lived there. She grew up in the house. Look at the kind of house that she grew up in. I want to talk to somebody. I grew up in a chattel house. But she want to come and talk to us, but she ain't come from nowhere. And she want to talk to somebody.
Cognitive dissonance, girl.
And we're not hearing the person saying, despite where I came from, and despite the background that I went through, I'm here telling you that healing is the way to go. And healing means you can also untether from the past and create a better tomorrow for yourself and your new family.
I agree. And a medium like this and what Sacred Warrior Mothers, what we aim to do is to bring awareness, not to put anyone down, but to start that healing because we can move forward. Like you said, damage. We're damaged. We're damaged goods, right? And who wants damaged goods? We go into relationships, and, excuse me, and we take all of this baggage with us, and then we want a better outcome. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, right? And most times it doesn't work, and you end up being with that person, and end up being in abuse again and again and again. I was telling somebody about this lady called Bajan Patsy. I think she's dead
I
now.
love it.
And
Yeah,
she
I grew
took,
up seeing Major
mhm,
Patsy every day.
man, she took some abuse. I don't know how she was still able to stand up after all of that. And the last thing that was done to her, her fingers were cut off. The guy beat her with the wire that holds up the pole. Remember that thick wire? He beat her with that and beat her till he cut off her fingers. That's how she died, you know?
Yeah,
But look at the trauma she's been through, not just with him, but the family, her intergenerational trauma. And she never came out of that. And every day you see it, even with the young children passing here, they're passing, you can see that they're not in their right minds because nobody is healing. Nobody is seeking help. And you're going to go to a psychologist who himself needs help. You see what I mean? Because this is something that's come down after generation after generation. But we have to find some way, and this is a good medium to start where we talk about it as the indigenous people. I don't even like calling us people of color anymore. I don't even like calling us black people. As the indigenous people of the land, we have to now come together as the mothers and as the fathers, because sacred warrior mothers have fathers as well, and they are needing the love too. They're needing the help to heal because they too were
yeah,
abused in some shape or form. They were abused either by their priest, either by their stepfather, even by their mother. Abuse is everywhere. And we got to stop normalizing it. And that's one of the things that the laws are now being manipulated to allow and to make it acceptable. We know it is there, but now when you change the law to make it acceptable, that makes a difference. Because now you can have a pedophile living next to you. They already live next to you, but you don't know they're pedophile. But now they can come from overseas and set up shop next to you, and offer your child a few candies because they think the children in the Caribbean are destitute and hand to mouth. Offer a few candies, a few dollars, and the next thing you know, your child is shipped off to Timbuktu. You never hear from them again. I see. So anyway, so me ask this one before I
well,
open up the. Go ahead, Queen.
I want to go back. As someone who literally grew up seeing Major Patsy walk through my neighborhood, seeing her in Bridgetown,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I can see her now,
Mm-hmm.
and knowing that her daughter
Mm-hmm.
represents Barbados
Mm-hmm.
in such an honorable way is proof that intergenerational trauma can be rooted. That's one. But also let's go back to Beijing Patsy and what she represented.
Mm-hmm.
She became a caricature that a lot of us knew. And so many people felt so helpless. I remember the conversations with like my grandmother and my great aunt having when we saw her walk through the neighborhood. And they would be like, Patsy comes and why you gotta get away from that man. And so many persons did have empathy, but so many women in Barbados and men have gone through, are going through, and have abuse as a part of their life so much that I think that many Bajans see it as a lot to carry. And when I say a lot, I don't mean the amount, but a lot, a burden, a necessity. Well, I went through a store and I turned out all night, so I know you're talking about if you got the boy a slap because, or yeah, he's a left from boot here, but the boy's only 12. I can't get he from around me. How can a 12-year-old? So if we, when are we going to stop and ask ourselves How can you do better? When are we going to stop and ask ourselves if we literally think that is different? And when are we going to stop criticizing persons like you and me and the persons who are in this group who don't want that anymore? Who are saying that you can do better? Who are saying that one step is what it takes for you to begin a journey. And one journey leads to a new path. So if you don't take one single step, how can you start a journey and how can you go on a path of being different? How can we create a different tomorrow only based on economies of scale, only based on the value of a dollar, only based on the value of what we can produce, when we have people who are not emotionally strong to make new families and create legacies?
Yeah.
We remain broken every single day and every turning of every season. How?
Oh, okay. Before I open up the floor to the audience, I'm going to ask you one last question. And it goes like this. What is the one question you wish I'd asked you, and how would you have answered it?
I think I would have wanted you to ask me more about my father. And how I would have answered that would have been to tell people about my dad and why healing is so important to me. My dad came out of a well-to-do family, and he died feeling alone and abandoned. And his journey is one of the reasons why I am walking in healing. I'm walking in healing for him as well. He knew his children loved him, but he died without his mother being there. And he felt abandoned by her because she had to make a decision that a lot of women and a lot of fathers have had to make, like leaving their child behind in order to go and make a better life for themselves. And my dad, because he talked to me about it, so that's why I can talk about it. He lived with this permanent feeling of never feeling like he's part of something because his family rejected him for his religious and personal beliefs. And that is the story of many people in Barbados as well, because so many persons have a blanket view of what is right that they don't listen to anybody else who presents a different point of view. And it hurts a lot.
Well said. Well, I'm going to open up the floor to the audience to ask any questions to Zion's daughter. So go ahead. Don't be shy, man. We family here. Go ahead, ask your questions. Or if you have a comment and you want to input, this is the perfect time.
This is the shyness of Bajan. And I see this so many times. We do have a lot to say, but we are such a shy people that when this is the time when most religions clamor up. But along the line, they have such profound things to share. And When we don't share the, I see it so many times. Come on, let's share. Just share with me and let's just talk. Go ahead. All right, hold on now. Get them thoughts together. And you know, Empress asked them questions. So ain't really like to ask. So, like,
You can comment. You can comment.
Like, I mean, comment.
Mm-hmm.
I understand.
I can see you trying to get to some place where she can say, I can see it.
So, while I'm not sure her name, while
Christina.
she's getting herself better,
Mhm.
Christina, let me pose a question. Why do you think that this is for anyone who wants to answer it? Why do you think that your journey of healing has to look like somebody else's? Tell me about that.
That's deep. That is deep.
Come on back, Christina.
That's a thought provoker there.
Why do I think my healing journey has to look like someone else's? That's for anyone, but since you started it, let's go. Man, well, I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all. I feel like my journey is so unique, and Empress will tell you some things that. Okay.
But you're not gonna tell them. That's something you gotta tell them.
Let me go back. Let me just go back for a minute. The coughing, and so many persons have that coughing and phlegm at this time of the year. I heard it. I went out today, and it was just everywhere I went. Yes, my love. Right. I really don't think that our journeys could even ever look the same. Yours, mine, the other sisters here. Everyone's journey is different, and for me, I feel like it has to be different because our purpose is different. We might be trying to reach the same goal, some of us, but our purpose is different. So whatever traumas that we have to go through is leading us to that.
Yeah.
The healing that we have to go through is leading us to that. So I definitely don't think that it has to look the same. Mine is a unique one. And something about you that I noticed, I wanted to put it in the chat, but I didn't want to fill the chat. And when I typed it and you raised it, then you said it. When you talked about honesty, I feel like that's one of the main things. And even though you're still kind of not giving us the whole
guarded
view, I still see that element of honesty that's always there. You know, and that's something that I admire in Queen. If you can be honest with yourself, then I know you're not gonna let them in.
That's true.
You know, that's one of the things that I had to practice on my journey too, especially with journaling. If you ain't honest in that journal, you need to stop. If you ain't honest with yourself, you need to stop.
This is true.
You're not honest there. Yeah, you gotta stop, or you gotta really check yourself. As you say, you gotta reevaluate. You gotta really look and see, you know, what's going on. That's one of the things. In fact, that's one of the first things that I experienced with Empress was honesty. Honest to the point that I didn't even know how deep those traumas were. And she didn't even say nothing. She said, just talk. And the honesty brought about the feelings and the traumas and the emotions, and then the literal release. And I feel like that's when that healing really starts. So you hit the nail on the head for me. We was floating on the same frequency. Whatever question she asked you, we was on the same frequency. I typed honesty and you said it, and I absolutely love that. Honesty is not a beautiful picture that you take of yourself. That's the truth. Honesty is not berating yourself. Yeah. Honesty is like me. I remember when I was in church and you had a wonderful worship session, and you know the elation of a worship session, and the preaching is right, and you leave church feeling on top of the world. And because I was so excited to be healed, I would take that excitement into everything. And people were not having it. I had to be honest with myself and tell myself, you are excited right now. Pull it back. Observe what is going on around you. And if your energy is needed, you will be invited, or there is a space where you can interject yourself. But instead, I used to do like this. Yeah, girl, let me tell you how to say to she can also and I am rattling on because I was so excited. Other people didn't have it. They didn't listen to that. They couldn't hear anything. So I had to tell myself, and I had to be honest with myself. I'm excited. Take a breath. Now come. That was one part of me healing, being calm, being when to avail yourself and then to make yourself available.
You know, forgiveness is your soul's pillow, and honesty is your soul's blanket. Forgiveness is your soul's pillow. You can rest in forgiveness. You can forgive yourself and put your head in forgiveness and have a good night's sleep. But you know, sometimes outside get a little chilly or the mosquitoes come around. The mosquitoes is the naysayers that come and tell you do this and do something else. But when you pull up that blanket of honesty, nothing can come through there, you know. Nothing can get through there. You see what I'm saying? You, as Sister rightly put, you gotta be honest with you. Forget the world. The world is gonna come to challenge you. It's gonna come to challenge everything you believe about you and know about you. And how you know you don't believe it and know it is if it offset you. If it makes you second guess you, then you know you got work to do. All my life, I used to hear people tell me, you think you're better than, because I always felt I was this person. Nobody didn't tell me you were XYZ. I always felt it inside that I was different. And I would hear people tell me who would try to steal a little bit of that. And I was young. I didn't know. I even heard it from my husband. You know, you think you're better than. And it's only in my adultness when he said that to me one day. I said to him, hell yes, I am. That shut him down instantly. He didn't know what to say. Because when people say that, we go on the defensive and we go within. Oh no, I ain't better than. I'm a little poor black girl and this. We start putting ourselves down. He didn't do nothing. All you do is put yourself down. But when I knew self and he said that, me and my big chest, you know, I got a big chest. Man, my big chest pumped up and I was like, hell yes, I am. And honey boy shut it down. He was like, he drove that car. He didn't say another word. He just kept going. And my self-esteem, I was like, yeah, you did that. You understand? I was doing the jig inside and I got quiet and I was like, whoa, where the hell did that come from? See, you got to be honest with you. You can't expect the world to see you how you see you. Whether good or bad, How you see you makes a difference. It really does. Your honesty, again, you got to be honest with self. You got to be true to you. And if you're not any of that, you can't be true to the person that's in your life. You can't be true to your children. You can't be true to your boss. You can't be true to nobody because you're going to always look for an out. You're going to always look for an excuse. You're going to always look for a lie. You're going to always resort to the first lie. Instead of saying, look, you want me to work late, but I ain't feel like doing that today. You could catch me tomorrow. I might be in a good mood tomorrow. The boss gonna be like, oh, okay. You see what I'm saying? Husband asks you to fix a plate of me. You know, this your husband. Hey, buddy, I worked really hard today. You fix me a plate. You understand what I'm trying to say? You be honest with you. It gotta start with you. All of this we going through starts with you.
Yeah. Your emotions. Now, throughout this conversation, one of the things I kept hearing is I'm being guarded. How comfortable do you honestly think you would be if you truly heard someone's rawness for the first time? Yeah, again.
I want rawness. Shoot.
How we say that we want to hear someone, but let's be honest. How comfortable are people listening, truly listening to someone's rawness, to someone saying that they were so low that they thought of cutting their wrist, or they actually did it, or that they were so far removed from what self-esteem is supposed to feel like that they slept with Nikki at 10, June at 12, and John at 3 o'clock, just to feel like something. I'm not saying that's my story, but when we actually hear that from some person, I can tell you, having heard it, we hear it on celebrity talk shows and things like that. When people actually end up sharing their rawness, what do we really do when we hear it?
But you see,
to answer that.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
It's more of a comment than an answer. This is just my thoughts. I feel like if we are going to be healing as first as a small group and then as a nation, expressing that honesty regardless of judgment from others, regardless of if you feel vulnerable, is important because there are other people in the room who are not at the level who can express honesty, and seeing your bravery in expressing yourself so freely and becoming vulnerable gives them the strength to do that too. So then we all heal together. So then hearing you say, you had John and Harry and Dick and Joe and Steve.
Not Dick.
Shoot. She had all of this, so I did that too. But she's so comfortable talking about and let's see how strong she is now. If I admit that to myself, and then I'm definitely admitting that to people that I trust, and I'm going to people on that level that she's on to. So people actually that vulnerability opens up that ability for people to trust you too, because you're sharing you. I mean, I ain't saying, tell people my account number is XYZ742, but those things that everyone goes through, I feel like those are the things that are really important to share, regardless of how they're going to feel, because they don't go home and lay down and think about what you said. And some things that you said here that been crossed my thoughts tonight at 12:30 when I up in my book. Yeah.
glad that you answered it that way. That's why I'm smiling so much. Because you answered the question. In order for us to really and truly talk to other people, and we end up talking about ourselves, we have to talk about our honesty, but we do not have to share every detail. Honesty is talking about the emotion of a thing. You don't have to share the details of a thing, but you can share the emotion of a thing. That's what people want to hear. That's what people are yearning to hear, because people can get details otherwise. Let's use your example. Sleeping with a man is an event, but telling someone, when I went to sleep with him, I felt,
That's the emotion.
and I experienced. That's why I talk the way I do. So much about emotions, more than an event, because the emotion of a thing is where I live in my honesty. I do not live in the honesty of an event. I live in the honesty of an emotion. How it made me feel. Why it took me on that journey. Why did I spiral out of control? Or when did I take too much control? When did the emotion of that event cause me to veer right? Or keep straight? Or turn around? Or seek help? Events will never end. There is going to be the event of the death of a child, death of a parent, death of a spouse. There's going to be the event of rape, sexual abuse, abandonment. But the emotion of those things is what we do not discuss. We tell people what we've been through, but we do not share how we feel. I slept on the streets. It made me feel alone. Our feelings as Bajans, we do not talk about them enough.
It's true.
Our feelings, our emotion, the way something made us feel, we do not confront, because we run into church, we run to spirituality, we burn candles, we do things to cope with the emotion of a thing, but we do not ever look in the mirror and say to ourselves enough, I did not like how I felt in that. That made me feel I felt so stupid. Oh my God. I felt so stupid. And how do we know that? Your child will tell you, but mommy, I don't like that. I don't like how it tastes. Eat it. Try eat that. Nothing else in here to eat, try eat that. You ain't got nothing else to eat. You wanna know that I work hard all day, I got time to be on the stove.
Not yet.
I'm sorry. But I grew up, listen, I am 52 years old, number one. I grew up with 4 great-grandparents and grandparents in the home, and 7 great aunts. If I don't have Bajan in me, then I from somewhere else. All right? I don't know how to be anything but a Bajan. And I heard, this is the kind of language I heard growing up. So the emotion of the thing was the child saying, I actually don't like it. But when that child grows up, the story is when I was young, my grandmother used to give me cocoa drops.
Mm-hmm.
But you aren't going to say, and everybody, yeah, I remember when grandmother used to give
Mm-hmm.
me
The
cocoa
event,
drops. But you
yeah.
are not going to say, I did not like them. I didn't like how they tasted.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be honest about that emotion because that emotion makes other people uncomfortable with the hurt they put you through.
Mm-hmm.
You accepting your own pain
Mm-hmm.
and you accepting that wrong was done to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you step out of the event? Go to church, go to mosque, burn candles,
Mm-hmm.
wrap your hair, I'm going to dress different. That's the effect of the emotion. Bingo. The emotion that you are living with constantly as you choose an event to hide your emotions, you can easily replicate every single day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you are alone and the event stops at midnight when you finally put your head on your bed, how do you cast that emotion out of your body, lay down, put it on the ceiling and look at it? That's your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I live this every single day in order to be here to talk to you. It took, I cannot even show you the amount of books. I journal. Don't think that I fill them up. No, don't think so. I'm not that serious. But I would go and start journaling here.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would put that aside. And when I find the emotion to write down a thing, I will have it in another book. I had to purposely sit down to there and tear out the pages out of nearly 7 of these types of books and put them together in one place because the emotion of the thing was so much and so great that I had to write the emotion down instead of talking it because I could not talk myself through the emotion of how I was feeling. I had to journal it.
Mm-hmm.
I had to find the right words through speaking to myself this way.
Mm-hmm. And that's
not
that's
easy
what
for
you're creating
everybody.
is actually a living library. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're creating a living library, and that's what journaling is not just about writing thoughts down. It's something that you can put your pictures to it so that your child or children can know have something that you've left. So that's
Yes.
yeah. And so I encourage everybody to do that. Get your
I want
living
to
library.
share, Empress, if you
Mm-hmm.
don't mind.
Go ahead.
I was so upset with the Most High
Mm-hmm.
about the I was reading the story of a young boy named Adrian Jones. Adrian Jones was a young man. He didn't even reach the age of 8. His father and stepmother recorded the depravity of their abuse toward him, and it bothered me. You can easily Google him. His name is Adrian Jones. His father brutalized him and then fed his body to the pigs. And they recorded every single act that they did against this young man. And I keep him in memory, that's the truth. But I was so upset with God. This is a journal that I wrote to him. And I shared it with Empress one day. But let me tell you how upset I was with God. I actually wrote, don't these children mean anything to you, Lord? Yes, they do. But they don't know how to cry out to you, help. Imagine I'm talking to God like that. I said, if these children don't mean nothing to you, can you get that raw with yourself? If you are
Mm.
truly talking about healing,
Mm.
if you are a parent, and Sacred Warrior Mothers is not that every person is a parent, but you may play a parenting role. In order to raise a child, you have to raise yourself first, because children push your buttons.
Mm.
And if you're not healed from your mother shouting at you, yo, come here, go pick up the outfit floor. Yo, you ain't get up yet. You think this is a hotel? Try and get up, man. If you grew up with a parent who spoke to you like that, if you are not healed from what that did to you, how do you think you're going to talk to your child?
That's right.
Replication, duplication.
Yes.
Or you go the complete opposite. You're so gentle that the child gets hit with murder now because you're afraid, because you haven't learned the balance. I had to learn the balance becoming a mother. My gosh, children can push your buttons. It's 11 o'clock. We have to get up early. Can you please get in your bed? Not try and get in your bed. I tell you so 15 times already, man. Let's be honest, Barbados and US, for our international sacred mothers and fathers. Let's be honest as this people. Our upbringing has not been an easy one. Crap was done to us externally, but we also did crap to each other.
Mm.
We cannot ask those to apologize for their crap, and we have not confronted our own crap.
Mm.
We cannot say to other people, give us money, give us land, give us the resources, and we are not mentally, emotionally, and spiritually prepared to shape it into tomorrow.
Truth. Very true.
Because we will only be packing up an inheritance for our children and our children's children, and they will have no value of it, so therefore they will give away their birthright for soup.
This is true.
Our first legacy as a people who have experienced intergenerational trauma is to lay up a foundation of family and healing for the tomorrow. I strongly believe it. My great-grandfather was born in 1895. I was born in 1971. I saw my great-grandfather. I interacted with him. I am one of few people who can say that.
This is true.
That has given me a sense of profoundness and legacy, to be alive and still know someone who was born in the 1800s. Imagine your children and your grandchildren now saying, I was alive when Sacred Warrior Mothers came to Barbados and started the healing process by being honest, by asking the people to come out and heal.
That's right. That's right.
Temperate.
Wow. My mind started racing as you're talking, and agreeing with everything you're saying, because it all comes down to healing. If there's anyone else that want to make a comment, anybody else want to say something, you're welcome to. Wow, that's profound. This our first talk show. More to come, more to come. And if this was this heavy, I can only imagine what is to come next month. Let me say this. We are planning a family day, bridging the gap on the 21st. And I've been posting little snippets. I don't like social media, but this is more important than my likes at this point, so that we can recognize the 21st is the new beginning. The Divine Mother has given us a grace period to begin this healing. And this is a year of magnetism. So, what we're doing here is going to magnify even more intuition magnetism. The 21st, that's when Aquarius, that's going into the Aquarian cycle. Come, we're in Cancer, we're going into the Aquarian cycle. And that represents the beginning, because the 21st is actually the new moon, and the new moon is this new beginning. So we're given a chance on the 21st to really cement ourselves to the land. The earth needs us. She needs to feel us. She hasn't felt us in a long time. She is elevated. And when I speak of the earth and she, I make it seem personal, but because she's personal to us, she's personable to us. The spirit within the earth is alive. It's not just a piece of mold out there with some trees. She's alive. She breathes. She has a cycle. She cries. She does all of that. And she's begging us to help her. She doesn't really need us. She can throw us off at will. But she is also rising. One second. This is ever so often. Forgive them. She is rising in her spiritual self, connecting deeper, higher. And we're just on her going along for the ride. We're just leeches on her back. But she doesn't want to throw us off. So they're giving us the opportunity to connect deeper, to begin this healing. We only got 7 years. We got 7 years to get it done. And I could go into why Barbados is important, but I'm not going to do that. That's not the forum for it. So Divine Mother put within us to bring the children together. In August, she said, bring my daughters. And we convened in August, and we did what we needed to do. The birds came, took the information, the malicious self took the information and brought us to this point. And she said, bring my children together from wherever, all denominations, all faiths, Rasta, you name it, because we must come together to restore our men and our boys to their rightful place as king. You see, a man cannot assume kingship except come through a woman. We are the portal. We give birth. We're the only natural portal into this realm. But a man cannot become a king except he sits on the lap of a female. We're the throne. We have to return them to their rightful place. It's not the head of our household in the sense that we've been socialized to believe, but the head of God's kingdom. You see, we're the mothers, we're the direct link to the divine. The brothers don't have that. Through our mitochondria, through the Black woman's mitochondria, we are a direct link to the universe. The brothers are not. They can only ascend if we ascend. So we are in this divine mother energy to restore the boys and men to their rightful place as the protectors of the kingdom. You see, we are the kingdom. Right now, the kingdom is wide open, and anybody could come into the kingdom and do what the hell they feel like. They could come in and set up shop. They could come in and take up a room in the house. That's how I liken it. They could come in and do whatever because Big Mama went out trying to get things together. She returned and everything is all right. But Big Mama said, no, I kicking everybody out. Everybody gotta go. That's what Big Mama's saying. And Big Mama is the infinite. So Big Mama is saying, one or two of y'all were paying attention. So I can give her a chance. Before I tear everything up, I'm going to give y'all a chance. She's given us 7 years. We've got 7 years to get this house in order. So I will end by saying this. On the 21st, we come together to make this thing happen, to change the direction of the earth. See, Barbados is that important to the earth. Barbados is Ankeys. The trident is broken right now. The other part of the trident is us. The only one that can put that trident hold is the female. We are the other half to the trident. And we will put it together. So the 21st, we come together at the Botanical Gardens. We're going to do some grounding. We're going to do some heavy spiritual work to make this thing happen, to start this journey over. So our year really starts from the January 21st, if you really want to look at it like that. It's a new thing, literally, new moon, new beginning. If you notice outside it's been overcast even during the day, that's because the sun gave way to the mother. The nights are cooler, the nights are cold in instances. Father pulled back so that the mother can come through. And that's all the mother's been doing for the last 2 or 3 weeks, giving us nothing but love through the plasma, through the moon energies. So that's on the 21st. In a week's time, we also have premiering Lips and Tips. That's going to be hot stuff. Right, Zion's daughter? Lips and Tips. We're going to look at, it's going to be raw. So come prepared to be embarrassed. It's going to be very revealing. That's all I'm going to say right now. Very revealing in how we view our bodies and what our bodies mean, what the different aspects of our bodies mean, lips and tips. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that right now. That's going to be the good stuff.
Starting off lips and tips with talking about breath.
And this broadcast, and I have something very profound. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Most times we look for the teacher to be a physical person, a place, or a thing. The teacher could be your pastor, it could be a friend, it could be a mother, it could be a schoolmate, basically anyone. When we talk of a place, it could be somewhere you travel to and you get your most profound insight, self-discovery, and that starts you on a journey. And it could be a thing, it could be a statue, it could be a piece of crystal, it could be just about anything that makes you stop and say, what does life mean? And then it is not, because the greatest teacher for when the student is ready is you. You are yourself the greatest teacher, because all of those things are a combination of your experiences. It is what you chose for yourself to be here in the now. So see them as what they are, as great teachers. Don't let situations, places, or things define you. They're part of your journey, but they're not you. You are greater than the sum total of your experiences. And everything that you've been through, bad, good, or indifferent, has brought you to this point in your life where now you stop and you examine you as a person. I've been through a lot, and one day will share my story, but what I've been through didn't define me. When Zion's daughter talked about trying to slit wrists, I tried to do that. I took some pills one time. I was done. I said, look, I'm out. I was done. I said, I don't want to be here because it was painful being here. And Spirit said, what you doing here? You better go back. We don't want you here. I said, well, shit, I can't even do it right. So it's been a journey to come to this place of self-knowing. I didn't just born big. I went through the fire too. I was that dross, that piece of steel that nobody knew was gold underneath. And I'm still being defined every day and refined every day. So don't judge yourself too harshly. Just laugh, and just be. Lillian what's her name? Lillian Hellman. She says, it's a sad day when you find out that it's not an accident or time or fortune, but just yourself that kept things from you. That's in one of my books. You are your biggest stumbling block, right? So I want to say thank you so much to Zion's daughter for being here and being guarded at times and then just then just letting it flow. Thank you for your insight and for humoring me. And thank you, ladies, for being a part of this first talk show. More to come. And I know you guys got something from it and from being here. I want to say thank you so much. And journey well, journey well. Meet you back in Sacred Warrior Mothers. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Peace and blessings.
Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you so much. And podcast. We're going to bring you more information about this and the way forward. So without further ado, peace and blessings.